Stillwater's Morning Scramble. Appreciate Jesse Martin. First of all, appreciate telling us your memories of Katrina and what you went through. And we were talking during the break about reaching out and helping folks, even if it's $25 or whatever, you can help out with the Red Cross or Salvation Army or however you want to do that. But if nothing else, besides those amounts adding up, the fact that folks know that you care means a lot, doesn't it?
100%. And let me tell a quick story about that. Not about people caring, but just back to Katrina a little bit, because with me working in sports, one of my biggest accomplishments working as a GM for minor league hockey happened the day before Katrina. So actually signed an affiliation agreement with the New York Islanders, and Steve Sterling at the time was the GM and head coach. So we had a big press conference the day before, and I remember.
So you were hobnobbing.
Yeah, we were excited. For any minor league team to have an affiliation and have talent, major league talent, part of it. It helps your salary cap and your budget, but it also helps fan interest and everything like that. So, we felt pretty good. We were going big time from New York, and New York always has a traditional. Great fan base for hockey and all sports up there, so we're very excited about that. A lot of name recognition. We had the press conference, did the dog and pony show. It was a very prideful moment in my career. Then we went out to have dinner and kind of celebrate. And I remember telling Steve that, hey, don't miss your flight in the morning, or you might not get out, because at the time it was just a Category 1 hurricane. Little did I know it was going to be the largest one that we've ever experienced down there. Next to, Camille was a big one too down there on the Gulf Coast back in, I think, the 70s, but never thought it would be like that. But that's how I always remember it. I remember the good side of it, and then I get to remember the bad side. So I just wanted to share that story as well. But
and eventually that's how he ended up here.
Yeah, and we were talking off the air that, all that grassroots efforts from the local organizations, local Lions Club, local church organizations, that's really what helps that healing down there. So,
and it is inspiring. We were talking about churches also, how the churches really step up, and they do. With different organizations that come down there, people want to help.
Yeah, and we know what a fabric that is here in the Stillwater community and the Oklahoma community. So I thought it was important to remind them what they do and those time of efforts, not just during a hurricane, but anything. It's that's what helps us get through it.
Absolutely. So, hey, let's dive into some of the stuff going on. We've learned about tickets. You and I were talking about my tickets during the break, and I just want a cardboard cutout, I think.
We've talked about that.
Have you really?
We have. And
no, don't put. No. You can skip over me. It'd be like, who is that dude?
I'm not give you like 4-seat cutout, right? Make you supersized.
I was watching the Cardinal game last night, and I saw on my phone, you're trying to figure out who these people are in the cardboard cutouts back there, and you sort of can't. And one of them was one of the announcers. And his wife had sent him something and said, basically, by looking at your cutout, I think you need to lose about 20 pounds.
There has to be some kind of clearinghouse, right, for those cutouts?
I don't know, but they're doing a good job.
Well, I'm sure if you just looked like you needed to lose some 20 pounds, that's probably not a criteria that they have, right? But I'm sure, like, whether you have a certain shirt on, whether you're doing some kind of gesture or something like that. I'm sure there's some kind of.
Well, there was one, and it looked like Matt Carpenter, who was a current player, and he was sitting by, as far as I could tell, a Muppet. I don't know why.
The whole cast are just animals.
Just one, yeah. And it was sort of like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So if somebody's watching that game, they'll probably say, no, that wasn't a Muppet. So. But anyway.
That was the caveman from the Geico commercial.
But they never really zoomed in too much. Could have been. Yeah. But you're watching, you're going, okay, I'm not sure that makes sense, but it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And they're having a good time doing it. You understand behind the scenes.
Well, I heard a couple days ago you and John talking about the oversized teddy bears. That was funny as can be.
Yeah.
And somebody did take it and did the commentary, and it was colorful. I'll tell you that. It wasn't mainstream. It was colorful. And I got a chuckle out of that as well when somebody sent that to me. But we have talked about the cutouts. The challenge that you have and where you see the cutouts is you see a majority in stadiums that don't have fans, right? And if you just think about the durability of them, everything like that. So that's one thing. So as of right now, because we're going to have fans and our fans aren't condensed into 1-2 sections, we're doing the opposite. We're spreading everybody out to social distance. So every section will have people in it. And if you just think about the durability and trying to get into your seats and blocking sight lines and things like that, there's a lot of challenges that we just opted at this time. We're just going to have people in the stands and do it safely. And the individuals that want to come, we're going to give them an opportunity to come. And like you said, we're within 2.5 weeks, 16 days, and we're going to get a taste of what we've been wanting. What we've been talking about for five months here is football. So
Yeah.
everybody still has their fingers crossed, and things can change at a moment's notice. No different than last night. There were some protests that took place, and there's people thought that there were going to be games last night, and
Well,
at a
you
snap
had the
of a
NBA
finger.
took the playoffs. There were no playoffs. Major League Baseball 3 games, and it was a boycott over what's going on in the country right now. And there are discussions going on right now whether the NBA playoffs will continue or not. And so that's being discussed in the sports world. But let's talk about ours a little bit.
Yeah.
And what we need to know with if you're a season ticket holder in the past and you have opted in,
Yep.
what are the steps now?
Well, so there was an email that was supposed to go out last night. Something happened with the server, and it went out this morning at 6 a.m. So if you're listening to this and you're a season ticket holder, no, you're going to be different.
Oh, I'm looking for mine now.
No, I
So-
said you're going to be different. You're on my list.
Oh, okay. Well, I looked last night and I
Yeah.
thought, okay, I had a couple from names that I didn't know, and I go, no, that's not it.
No, don't
So-
click on those. They don't need $1 million. You don't have $1 million coming from Nigeria, Steve.
Oh, okay.
If you reply to that, don't click on that.
But I did check
spam
to
one.
see because I listened to Andy and Larry Reese on with Robert Allen, and they were talking about all this, and I thought, okay, I will be paying attention to my emails.
Yeah.
But mine's
Well, you're a different category, right? Because we do business together as well.
Right,
And
that's
so,
true.
So it's different, but for anybody that opted in to get season tickets, what you received this morning at 6 a.m. and that's actually what I was doing during break. Somebody was asking some questions,
okay.
and so they got that email, and it'll give you your selection time, and it'll give you a link that you can go in there and kind of browse and log into your account ahead of time. But we'll start out tomorrow, and then go through the September 2nd, with the selecting your seat process. So you'll be able to select up to 6 tickets, or the number in your account. So, Steve, if you traditionally had 2 season tickets, you're only going to be able to get 2, right?
Okay.
If I had 4, I'd only be able to get 4. Let's say you had
No, I've
10.
had 4.
Yeah. What if you had
So
10?
I could give me the formula
If
that
you
you're
had
going
10,
for.
6 is the most. that
6
you'll
is
be able to
the
get. Yeah.
most. It's got to be an even number,
Yeah,
right?
so we try to be. Our goal is to be able to give everybody a chance to come that wants tickets, in some form or fashion. You can't have somebody out there that hey, traditionally I get 20, traditionally I
I
get
gotcha.
100, and it continues to bump people out. So
Yeah.
it's not, wherever you draw a line, that line's not correct. You're going to make somebody upset with it. So what you try to do is take all the information you can. How can you accommodate as many people as you can and get through this special season? Because our hopes, our dreams is next year we get back to where we were. And that's been our commitment to everybody is there's no pressure to join us this year. We'd love you to if you feel safe. We'd love you to come out and be a part of it and help us. Sports has always been that piece of the puzzle that helps people get through tough times, right? Whether it's recession, whether it's tragedy, sports has always been that distraction, and we'd love you to be a part of that. And we've had more people commit to that than what we have seats. So there's an opportunity for individuals not to get seats, but we'll see how that shakes out. A lot of it comes into individuals will select their seats, or maybe they'll opt out when they're in the selection process because they don't like the locations, because you're not going to be able to get your traditional location with that as well.
Yeah. And we get used to stuff, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
There are
And part
angles.
of going to sporting events for a lot of people, I know for my family, it's that sense of community.
That's right.
You grow up with the individuals. They've watched your kids grow up. They're in your neighborhood, right? So they're part of your neighborhood. And if your neighborhood's not there, the way you consume games, the game sometimes is secondary, whether it should be or not, right? It's more about that community that you have there and the fellowship. And for some people, that's the most important thing, right? The game's fun, they enjoy going it, but it's that sense of community. When you don't have that, so we might have some people opt out on that as well.
Okay. Hey, we got a caller
Yeah.
on, and I think you'll be able to hear this. Good morning. You're on with Jesse Martin with OSU Athletics. Hi.
Morning, Jesse. I did receive my email, and I logged on to look at it and saw the time, which I'm supposed to call in or can call in. It says I can even call in later if I want to, but it gave me that's probably the earliest I can call in. The question that I have though is I have basically 2 season tickets, and I know what my posse number rating is on there, and you're saying that most likely or for certain we will not be sitting in the same seat. Is that for sure, or is it possible that my selection comes around that my 2 seats would still be available, that I could select the seats that I normally sit in?
That is a great question. And so there is an opportunity, right? What makes it difficult is throughout the stadium, what you will see is groups of twos, groups of four, and those are all based on how many current season ticket holders have groups of twos and groups of four, and then you will see groups of sixes as well. So if you really think, if you get in your mind the look of a checkerboard, right? And
Yes.
so what we have to do with our seats is have them 6 feet apart from the other groupings. So there's a chance. What I really think will happen is majority of our people might not be in their same seats, but will be at their same yard line, their same section. That's the hope, right? And you know, unfortunately, I don't think that if you, I told Steve this last week, if somebody has their exact same seats, you might want to go buy a lottery ticket as well, because that I mean, we just want to be very upfront with that because you know, more than likely it won't happen that you have your exact same seats. But what we will guarantee you is the seats that you were committed to, you know, this year before we had to reduce capacity, you'll have an opportunity to get those exact same seats in 2021. And that way, and our hopes is everything will be back to normal at that time, that we can have a full stadium, and that you'd be able to get that. But this year is going to be a little different. Our hopes is at least get you in, you know, section. If you get in there for that select a seat, here's the beauty of it too. If you're committed right now, but sitting in your exact same seat or in that exact same section is very near and dear to you, if it comes to your selection time and you don't like a seat that's there, you can always opt out, right, and not have to move forward with it. So we just want to be very open with that. But we're going to try to get everybody in there, and hopefully it'll shake out to where everybody's within, you know, that few yard lines of where they want to sit, and we can move forward and get, you know, have football this year.
Well, that's what I understood. One more question is, how many season ticket holders are there that's going to be able to go in and select the seats? What is the total number of season ticket holders that will?
You know, so we have, it's about 3,500 when you look at it. Yeah, 3,500 season ticket holders. Not
35
accounts. Sorry, accounts.
Okay.
Accounts.
Because I thought, boy,
yeah, accounts. So when you start taking that, you know, there's an average of almost four per account is what you get. Some have more, some have less, right? So if you just look at how many, what's the average number of tickets in an account? So if you take that, it's about 4. So if you start doing the math on that, you know, 35, somewhere around there, you have quite a few people that are there that'll have an opportunity to get season tickets with us. Steve, you're looking at me weird. I didn't explain that right.
Well, I'm doing the math. No, I'm doing the math in my head. And it seems to fall short to me. If it's 3,500 times 4 would be 14,000.
Yeah. That is correct.
Is that right?
That is. Oh, it's close to that, right? And so what we have is when you get down to 25% capacity, you'll be looking at just a little bit under 15,000 seats.
Oh, that's how many you're going to allow in.
Yeah.
I think he was wanting to know how many you had to start with.
Oh, how many that we had to start with?
The original group.
Yeah.
The original group.
That's why I was looking at you like that. Okay.
My mind was in how many do we have for the select a seat?
Yeah. No, I was thinking in the past because I thought we were a lot more than that.
My goodness. We, you know, traditionally we would run about 35, 36, all the way up to 37,000 season tickets, right? Not counting our students.
I got you.
Not counting player guest. Yeah, that number's a lot bigger.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You could tell by my face I was going, that doesn't add up.
I was like, Steve, let's talk here.
So with 35,000, 45,000 season ticket holders, if I'm trying to figure the odds here on it. If my posse number is like 3,000, or in the low, does that mean of the 3,000 group that you have? Or does that mean that 3,000 out of 45,000, the odds are better for me to be able to get in?
That's a good question as well. So we do have right at just a little shy of 9,000 posse members. So if you're ranked number 3,000, you're ahead of 6, and there's 3 in front of you, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that all of them have opted in to get season tickets this year. I would say that you're in a really good spot. And with those seat limits, the way that people would get additional tickets than what they have in their account would be if there's any left over, right? We'll go through that pecking order once, and then if there's any additional left over, we'll start back at the top and go back through. But I think you're in a really good spot. When you start looking at And when you start looking at what we're starting with, the people that are committed to coming, that number when I said 14,000, that's not.
Yeah.
That's counting the suites as well, right? So if you take the
Okay,
suites out, and we have 2,500 up in the suite level, so now you're down in the 12s, and we have probably about 15,000 people that have said, "Hey, we're interested," right? So, if everything shakes out where everybody took their full amount that they could get, there's a chance that we could have 2,000 people, 2,100 people that would be without tickets, right? But that's the reality. But what we're going to get is more people having an opportunity to get tickets than what we have seats for. So there will be a few people left out. But I think you're, with your rank and everything, I think you'll be pretty good.
Well, thank you. I mean, those are just curious. Now, the time that they've given me is say right after noon on Saturday.
Yep.
To call. When does the first one start calling in?
Friday.
Friday.
Yep.
Hey, can you tell me the email that can you read that off to me?
Well, it just said ticket office. Now, here's a strange thing. My emails don't come to they all end up over in my clutter box. Trash it, and I have to go over there and look, and I find it, and I bring it back to my inbox. But it just said OSU ticket office is the email is entitled. The same thing with the letter from Coach Holder yesterday. For some reason, my email address, it goes over, and I have an OK State EDU email address. Don't know why. That's just one of the glitches, but that's where I found it at, is over in my spam or trash place, and then I brought it back over.
Well, don't tell Coach Holder this, but his emails go to my clutter too. No. For all of our fans out there listening.
Notice how I'm behaving right now.
You are. I'm surprised, Steve. I threw you a softball and you didn't even take a swing at that. But no, for our fans out there, different mail servers are different. So please check your clutter. Please check your junk email. I think clutter is probably the more place that it would go. There's different levels of that. So check that. We are sending out some important information on that. Your selection time, we will run that over the weekend as well. Traditionally, I think we're able to put, somewhere in the range of 50 to 60 accounts in there per our time slots, and those time slots will run approximately 15 minutes where you can get in there and select your seat. If your time slot, you said yours is on Saturday, right? Well, say you can't get in there right at that time. You have the duration of the select a seat. What does to log in and select your seats? What you do lose if you don't log in at your time is a little bit of your priority, right? Because we'll continue to let more people into the process as time goes by. So doesn't mean that, if you had something come up and you can't be there Saturday morning when your time is, and you get in there Saturday night, you could get a little less desirable seats than what you could have at your time, but you're still able to go in there and select those seats.
I actually clicked onto it, and it came up, but it just showed me the seat that I normally sit in.
Yep.
It had something else down below, a second selection, but it wouldn't let me do anything. So once I would select the seats on here, will it tell me immediately?
Yes.
I'm confirmed I get those seats, or
Yep.
sorry, you need to make another selection?
Yep, and what you're in right now is just a demo mode, so you can get in there and kind of navigate and get familiar with the process of selecting different seats and seeing where you are. And then when it goes live during your selected time, you'll click on that link and you'll be in the real life virtual stadium. Real life virtual stadium, Steve.
I like it, yeah. So.
Wow, well, thank you guys for the information.
Hey, I
those
appreciate
are
you
good
calling.
questions.
Yeah, because if you have those questions, others do. So hopefully we're able to help out some individuals as well with some of those answers.
Yeah.
So we appreciate your
Thank you all very
support and go Pokes.
Very good.
Have a good day. Goodbye.
Tell you what I'd like to do, if I can take a top of the hour break here, and then if we could do one more little segment, just to do kind of mop up stuff. Is that all right?
Well, it's going to be dependent on that coffee pot out there.
Well, it was getting low because
I'm down to my last swallow. And
yeah.
I run off of coffee, Steve.
And what I'll also do in the next segment, I don't always give the phone number out as often as I should probably, but 533-1020, 533-1020. If you have a follow-up question to that about the tickets or anything else.